The last light of Elyria. In the heart of Elyria, a city that had once sparkled like a jewel beneath the sun, the streets were now quiet, its ancient towers shrouded in a mist that never seemed to lift. The people who lived there still whispered the same stories, tales of a golden age, when the city thrived under the warmth of a light known only as the beacon of the eternal flame. But that light had vanished decades ago, and since then, the city had slowly faded, forgotten by the world. Lyra, a young woman with dark eyes that seemed to carry the weight of the city's lost history, had never known Elyria as it once was. She was born in the years after the beacon's disappearance, in a time when the sky was always overcast, and the stars seemed to hide their faces. Yet she had always felt something stirring inside her, a pull as if the city itself whispered her name. One evening, while walking through the forgotten market, a crumbling square where merchants once haggled over silks and spices, Lyra found a tattered map hidden in the corner of an abandoned bookshop. The ink was faded, but the symbols were clear enough, a path leading deep into the heart of the city, beneath the ruins of the old Palace of the Flame. At the map's end was a single word: resurgence. For days, Lyra studied the map, drawn by an instinct she couldn't explain. Something inside her stirred, a spark of hope that perhaps the beacon hadn't disappeared after all, that it was waiting for the right person to bring it back to life. She decided to follow the map. The path led her down forgotten alleys and beneath ancient arches, each step taking her further from the city's crumbling streets and deeper into its heart. The air grew cooler as she descended into the old temple beneath the palace. It was a labyrinth of tunnels, some narrow and twisting, others wide and cavernous, where echoes of long-forgotten voices still seemed to linger. It was in the deepest chamber that she found it, an altar carved from black stone, worn smooth by centuries of time. Above it, a single crystal hung suspended in the air, glowing faintly with an ethereal light. The air around it hummed as if the entire city was holding its breath. Lyra stepped forward, her heart racing. She reached out to touch the crystal, her fingers brushing its surface, and instantly the world around her seemed to shift. The ground trembled, the walls of the temple cracked and shifted, and above her, the sky outside the temple flickered with bursts of light. It was as though the city itself was waking up after a long slumber. A voice echoed in her mind, ancient and powerful, yet filled with a sense of warmth and familiarity. "You have awakened the beacon, but the city will not return to its former glory so easily. The flame is not a thing of power. It is the heart of Elyria. It lives in those who believe. Do you believe, Lyra?" Lyra closed her eyes, feeling the weight of the question settle in her chest. She had always wondered why she had felt this pull, why she had always felt that someone was waiting for her. She didn't have all the answers, but one thing was certain. Elyria had been waiting for her to remember what it truly was. "I do," she whispered, her voice steady despite the uncertainty that lay ahead. The crystal flared brightly, and the ground beneath her feet shifted. The flame of Elyria, the last remnant of its old light, began to grow stronger, brighter, and the mist that had surrounded the city began to lift. The light from the beacon poured through the cracks in the ancient stone, spilling out into the streets above. Lyra knew that her journey had only just begun, but as the first rays of light broke through the clouds, she could see that Elyria had not been abandoned forever. The city was waking, and so was its heart, and so was she.